It's a quiet morning in America's Midwest. But it won't be quiet for long, because there's a circus that's coming to town.
President Obama will likely not be re-elected in 2012. That is the headline in the Wall Street Journal piece today.
You're right. GOP frontrunner Mitt Romney
has the best chance if the election were held right now.
For the national media, the Republican primary has become an obsession. Yet for the people on the street, it seems to be a lightning rod for many of the things wrong in today's America.
Well, what's your general impression of the quality of the contest?
It seems kind of dismal. It seems as though you're watching people try to figure out some sort of lowest common denominator politics, and so vying to underwhelm one another in order to create the largest base possible. So it's kind of sickening.
I spent 2 weeks on the trail of the candidates. The Midwest is a key battleground, and no stranger to hard times. But it's a region that is usually proud of its status as a bellwether. It's said that as Ohio goes, so goes the nation. But instead of pride, I find an unending disquiet.
People are so disconnected and disempowered that they don't see their own power. They don't see how important democracy really is, like how many people...
They talk a good game. The Republicans and Democrats both, they talk a good game, but that's all they do is talk. There's no action.
The reason that there is so much talk is that the media remains keen to listen. At events like this one, you'll find almost as many reporters as supporters. This event exemplifies the key criticisms of Mitt Romney's campaign for the Republican nomination. It's overstaged, mechanical, and as always, there's a barrier between Romney and the people there to see him.
I'm very concerned, as Ann said, about jobs, getting our economy going again. And I'm concerned about kids and making sure our kids aren't burdened with extraordinary debts and a weak economy. This president has made some promises he hasn't been able to keep. He told us that he'd cut the deficit in half. He's doubled it. It's amazing that he has been such a failure. He's out of ideas, he's out of excuses, and in 2012, we're going to make sure he's out of office.
It's 8:30 on a Wednesday morning, and Romney's audience listens patiently, but not passionately. But in the crowd, I see someone I wasn't expecting to meet. The man's name is Samuel Joe Wurzelbacher, but he's more famously known as Joe the Plumber.
So is there a disconnect between Washington, D.C., which I don't know if most people know this, but is now essentially the richest city in the country, between the rest of America? Absolutely.
Joe was just an ordinary guy until he met then-Senator Barack Obama on the street during the 2008 elections.
That makes $250,000, $270,000, $80,000 a year.
All right.
Your new tax plan is going to tax me more, doesn't it?
Well, here's what's going to happen.
And a video of their conversation made headlines.
And right now, everybody's so pinched that business is bad for everybody. And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody. But listen, I respect what you do, and I respect your question. And
that single phrase, to spread the wealth around, was the launching point for a war between Republicans and soon-to-be President Obama that lasts till today. It was the phrase that in Republicans' minds branded Obama a socialist.
Politicians are used car salesmen that know how to brand, they know how to message, and they know how to market. These guys aren't solving problems, they're creating more problems.
Joe isn't alone when he tells me that in this election cycle, the candidates seem to be hacking at each other more than ever before. That's largely because a recent Supreme Court ruling freed up private and anonymous donors to spend unlimited amounts of money on their own hatchet jobs. Ads like these.
The crime, Medicare fraud. The victims, American taxpayers. The boss, Mitt Romney. Romney supervised a company guilty of massive Medicare fraud. That's a fact. Romney pocketed $500,000. Cost to taxpayers, $40 million. Get the facts at nitsbloodmoney.com.
These ads range from the wildly inaccurate to the outright absurd.
On full throttle. This time Romney's firing his mud at Rick Santorum. And in the end, Mitt Romney's ugly attacks are going to backfire.
Without caveats or explanations, please define yourself using one word and one word only.
Adding to the air of negativity is the non-stop election coverage,
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Speaker. Go ahead.
where analysis is overshadowed by the gaffes of the candidates, played over and over again.
I think I was making it clear that while I have a personal more objection to it, even though I don't support it, that I voted for bills that included it. And I made it very clear in subsequent interviews that I don't support that. I've never supported it.
I'm not concerned about the very poor. We have a safety net there. If it needs a repair, I'll fix it. I'm not concerned about the very rich. They're doing just fine. I like being able to fire people who provide services to me.
Corporations are people, my friend. We can raise taxes on, of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people. So, where do you think it goes?
The only people I meet who seem unconcerned about the attack culture are Obama supporters, like Mike Kubich, a chicken farmer, or as he likes to put it, a chicken evangelist.
They're out to destroy each other, and it's fun. Like Obama said, all we have to do to win this election is pull up their ads and run them against them. They've killed each other out in the field.
Even the candidate's most loyal supporters don't like what they see today. Like Bo Allen, who fundraises for Romney.
It must be hard as a supporter of a candidate to just sit ringside and watch the punches being thrown.
It's hard. I mean, Newt Gingrich tried for a while to stay out of it. And he was trying to take the high ground, which I think is noble. But it's difficult when you have all these third-party groups that are not affiliated to anyone just coming out and bashing people.
Romney's a good man. I believe he is, but I don't believe in his gut he's a conservative. I just think that's what it comes down to. People kind of have an ideology, and I don't think when it's knee-jerk time that Romney's going to go. And I think that's his problem. That's why he can't shore up his base. He's a slick guy. He looks the best. He talks the best. But when you just get to the core of it, I don't think he's a conservative. So that's his problem with me.
Of all the candidates, it's Rick Santorum who has branded himself most successfully as a total contrast to the sitting president. He'll go so far as to say that they have different ideologies, a catch-all Senator Santorum uses to deepen the questions about Obama's supposed socialism, and even to cast doubt on the man's faith in a Christian God.
You see, liberalism is an ideology. Socialism is an ideology. Conservatism is simply what works and what's proven to make sense in America. It's common sense.
Outspent by Mitt Romney 12-1, Rick Santorum has come from as little as 2% national support to become a serious contender for the Republican nomination by painting Mitt Romney and the president into the same corner.
The last thing that Ohio wants to do is to nominate a Republican who gives away the most important issue in this campaign, Obamacare. And Governor Romney supported a federal mandate at the very time it was being debated. Stand for us, help us, go out, vote for us, make a difference, sign people up, and help us win. Thank you and God bless you.
Andy Brenner heard Rick Santorum's message and decided to take it door to door.
First of all, I've got to take a look at and think of, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to win in the November election? And Santorum does not have the baggage, but he also takes a stand, and he I don't know, like whether it's a conservative issue, whether it's right to life, pro-family, or even the tax issue for the middle class, he stands up for it, and he stands up and he believes in what he says, And that, I think, it's genuine. It's coming from the heart. I think he's also one of us.
I feel very strongly about Rick Santorum's view on life, on the sanctity of life. I feel like when you know a person's view on that particular subject, you will also get a really good sense of how they will act and vote in many other areas. I will be supportive of the Republican candidate, but it would be very challenging for me if it wasn't Santorum.
As we drive, Andy and I talk about the negative ads and the attacks.
And he's making business decisions. And politics is a business, whether people like it or not. Politics is a business. And in the case of Rick Santorum, his support is coming from the grassroots. So he can go out there and get hundreds of volunteers to go door to door for him or speak on his behalf. That makes up for the millions that are being spent on radio and TV ads from Romney. Even if they're negative,
In my few short weeks here, the contest has really come down to the two men. Andy's guy Santorum stealing conservative hearts, and Beau's man Mitt capturing anyone for whom the economy is key. The only passionate Newt Gingrich supporter I meet is Walter Slaughter, holding out a sign on a street corner hoping to drum up votes for a candidate who barely showed up to fight for the Midwest.
Just voted, and I voted for Newt Gingrich as president, and so there we go.
Yeah, I'll help find somebody.
And so when I showed up to see the only other remaining candidate, Ron Paul, I expected more of the same. And I was mightily surprised. 5,000 energized young people have showed up to hear Paul's message about a libertarian revolution.
Why is it that Paul attracts such a different and larger crowd?
I think it's because the youth, especially in this country, recognize that there's something wrong with what's going on. There's something wrong with our government, and that the power should be back in the hands of the people, not with corporations, not with big business, not with the government. Ron Paul wants a reduction of government size and power, and I think that really is an attractive message to the youth of this country who are waking up and realizing that, hey, something's wrong here.
For young people frustrated with the political system, Ron Paul's message to tear down a great deal of that system resonates.
What's your name?
My name is Jeff Domingos. I live in Owasso right now, and I'm one of the currently used to be middle class, now broke as shit families that Ron Paul is trying to save from oblivion.
You feel like you're in danger of sliding into oblivion?
I feel that not only am I in danger of everything going worse than anybody could imagine, I'm also a father. I can't let my son live like the way that things are going right now. You know, it's 5 months old, he's my baby boy. You know, and if this man, in my belief, is the only man who cares about you, me, this guy, that guy, this lady, all of us, my son included, he needs to be in office.
And when America's favorite libertarian takes the stage, it's to the applause of one of the largest audiences of the entire campaign.
The country is poorer because everything is based on debt. And this is the reason the middle class is getting smaller, the middle class is getting poorer, and there's another characteristic of what happens when a country destroys its money and power gravitates into a central location like the federal government. The power then takes the value or takes the wealth of the middle class, it's automatically transferred to the wealthy. And this is what's been happening.
Ron Paul's presidential bid has been largely ignored by the American media, but he's clearly touched a chord that the other candidates have missed.
This is an election, and I hope I'm the nominee with your support. But this is an election really about the soul of America. What kind of nation America is going to be over the coming century.
That phrase of Mitt Romney's, an election for the soul of America, really sticks with me as I drive away and out of the Midwest. because there is something happening to the very soul of America's democracy. It's being dragged down somehow. And I wonder, with almost a year of campaigning still ahead, will any Republican or Democrat be able to shake off all the dirt and truly inspire and lead their people in the days ahead?